Welcome back to the Altala DronePort at Viking Field, Jasper, Alabama. Seems like it's been weeks. My FSE 3048 counter is down to 0 and has been for several days. I just wanted to take a short little fun flight this evening, so we'll be going from Viking Field in Jasper in the KJFX FSE zone down to Huntington Airstrip in Northport in the 1 Alpha Lima 9er FSE zone. Last time I flew this route, I used GPS checkpoints, Dora, Creel, Missile, and then I set Tuscaloosa Airport from Missile as our heading to take me right across the Huntington Strip. Since FSC in 1AL9 is not even in the modern databases, so you have to use other waypoints to line up to it. And I admitted I had to circle 2 or 3 times before I could finally pick out the Huntington strip from all the other neighborhoods and things that look similar to it south of Lake Tuscaloosa. So today I'm planning on using Vulcan VOR on 114.4, leaving Viking and jump on a 121 heading whatever is direct toward the Vulcan VOR. Just till we get up to a good comfortable cruise. Probably go with 1,500, maybe 2,500 feet. No higher than that, though. There's no need to. We're only going about 40 miles. And then turn due south off of that 121 inbound and go due south until we pick up the 235 radial, which I've already got dialed in to my OBS. You can see the copy of it on the screen there. And we'll pick up that 235 radial outbound to 42 DME from Vulcan. At that point, the Brookwood VOR, which is my nav1, we can't see it from here, but we should be able to see it by then. Brookwood VOR is 111.0. That should be at 101 degrees from us at about 18 miles. At least that's what I've written down on my little personal reference sheets in the past. So I think that's right, as far as I know. At that point, we should have already spotted Huntington, but if not, it should be directly beneath us, and then we'll land, whatever's best based on the winds at the time. Tuscaloosa, AWAS was calm and Cavu a few minutes ago, so may just get to pick whatever I want to. At that Huntington Strip, I'd rather land from the north because to come into it from the south, you really have to bump into the Delta airspace for Tuscaloosa Airport. And doing this drone, thing, we're acting as an Altala UAV, so I don't plan on entering any controlled airspace. So if it's possible, even if there's a slight tailwind, I'll probably land from the north, headed south into the Huntington area. So that's enough running my mouth. Let's get to see if we can fly this thing. I've already gone through a bunch of my checklist. I'm up to the point where it says start engines. So we are ready to do that. Let's go in the plane. Put the mouse in the right place. There we go. And we are in the plane. Once again, I can see the PFD, the primary flight display, on a smaller monitor below this view screen, so I can see the PFD. I have my MFD. It just mirrors the PFD, so I have 3 copies of this same display because I just like like everything to be close together, and I don't have enough monitors for all of them. So here we go. Checking one more time. Brakes are on. Lights are off right now. Start the engine. Here we go. And I'm having to go and so that I can hear what's going on. There we go. Okay, I have turned down from some other flights. I've turned down the ambient noises inside the plane. Yeah, everything looks good. Lights, I'm just going to turn on a few strobes and beacons, not the whole thing because it's bright daylight. Flaps to takeoff position, we'll do that. Trim is already at 14. I usually like about 15 or so to get a good clean lift off. Brakes off. Brakes off. And really that about everything else is already done. We should be good to go. Let's check our outside views. We have this view that we can look at often. This is a non-realistic flying view, so I don't use that one. Even for a drone, you could see this. You could even see that. You could see that or that. But those are the only 4 views that I use while we're flying as a drone. And then here we go to takeoff. I think we're good. This is my favorite taxi view, so you can see if you are bumping any things. Looking back over everything and making sure I have Vulcan VOR on 2, on nav 2, and Brookwood on nav 1. I just prefer it that way because Brookwood is the least important on this, and it's the skinny needle. Okay, we're ready to go back in the plane. Here's the flight view. Sit up in my seat. And here we go. Airspeed's alive. Airspeed's white. Rotation speed, we should be good to fly now. And here we go. All right. Calm things down a little bit. Get the flaps up. Back off on the throttle a little bit into the green fuel flow zone. It's usually a pretty decent climb at 500 feet per minute. Turn on that direct route to Vulcan, toward Vulcan, until we get up to cruise. I'm going to go on up to 2,500 feet so we can be sure and see Vulcan the whole day. Although 42 miles to, yeah, I think we'll stay at 1,500. I'll just level off at 1,500 feet. Should keep us out of the trees or anything between here and there. Slow down. I'm not changing anything, I'm just telling the plane, why are you going so fast? I'm at 7 gallons per hour, that usually gets us about 100 knots. Going like crazy. Brookwood VOR is already alive, I see that. I think I'll go ahead and turn due south, like I said. Almost direct Brookwood. That's OKW, Oscar Kilo Whiskey, on the display there. VUZ is Vulcan. Looks like winds are out of the north, 7 or 8 knots. See what it looks like when we get closer to Northport. Okay, we're good to go for right now. We're gonna just go ahead and speed things up a little bit till that VOR starts to come online. We'll talk to you in a minute. And we're just starting to see the OBS from VOR, from Vulcan VOR come alive. I'm going to tell the GPS to enter, or tell the autopilot to intercept it, and that should get us on a good heading. 235 radial should put us over Vulcan, or over Huntington, and we're at 15 miles now. At about 42 DME, we should see Huntington. I keep feeling like that's 10 miles too much, but I don't think so. I think that's right. Just looking on the map, 40 looks more right than 30. There we go. I'm not doing that, the autopilot is, so everything's working good. Let's see. .35 at 42 miles from Vulcan. 281 from Brookwood, or 101 to 101 toward Brookwood at 18 miles. Right now Brookwood is about 18 miles, 16.7 to be exact. Vulcan, we've still got a ways to go, but we are lined up on the radial. Everything's smooth. Go back to the warp speed view. All right, here we are, 40 miles from Vulcan VOR, and I'm pretty doggone sure that right there is the mini storage / Huntington Depot facilities. The winds are out of the north at 12 knots at this altitude, so that makes me definitely not want to land with that kind of tailwind. I'm going to go into heading mode. And turn to avoid popping into Tuscaloosa airspace. Yeah, the VOR route definitely more precise. We're right over the so-called new high school. It's been there for a long time, but right in front of us is the road that we'll be landing on, but from the other direction. So we'll go to left crosswind, for runway 3. What's it called? Runway 35. That's what I thought. Oh, we're way. Oh no, we're good. We're good. Okay. Slow down. Drop the first notch of flaps. Go ahead and turn downwind, left downwind for 3-5. Never descend in the pattern, as I was told. And here I am dropping down to 1,200 feet, which is what the actual pattern altitude should be. Another notch of flaps. That was one of the first guiding principles a flight instructor ever taught me, was never descend into the pattern. Be a very short final to keep from encroaching much on Tuscaloosa. We're really in the Delta airspace right here, but maybe we won't get in too big of trouble. Full flaps. No, not full flaps. Now we have full flaps. I want everything I can to help us slow down. A little bit extra power. I don't want to stop that much. There's our runway. Nobody on it right now. Some of us cars will run out in the way. 62 knots, 600 feet per minute. I've done worse. Let's see if we can land it decently. Woo, that was not good. Crappiness of the landing is directly proportional to whether or not the recorder is on. Just a few little one-lot FSE passengers to exchange on this stop. But that brings us back to Huntington one more time. Thanks for flying with us. Yeah, I'm still here. I'm trying to get my checklist straightened out. Flaps are up. Next thing we gotta do, I got a control for this now. Let's see if it works. There we go. A decent shutdown. Wait for the FSE client response. Logging flight done. We used about 4.5 gallons of fuel. All the lights off, make sure of that. Brakes on. And power off and stop that incessant beeping. Now we're done. I guess I'll go ahead and record us making the trip back to Jasper. Somebody might want to watch it at some point. Get in make sure everything's working right. I've already done my presets up to the engine start point, so here we go. Strobes and beacons on. Flaps 1, trim about 15. It will take a little bit. Brakes off. And we're about ready to taxi. That's why I like this tail view, so you can see if your wing's going to bump into anything. If you watch the first half of this, I'm going to basically go the same thing in the other direction. We're going to take off from here, turn direct toward Vulcan VOR till we get to about 15 DME. Then we'll turn due north and head back for Jasper once we get to the 301 radial, because that should put us, we should be able to see Jasper by then. I don't want to bump into those guardrails. Don't know how they got put in that spot in the Altala universe, but there they are. Good. Looks like everything's green or going that way. Now that makes your head spin going back and forth that quickly between the views. Okay, let's see. Everything looks pretty good. I'm going to stay runway heading at least 500 feet above the ground. Then we'll turn to direct Vulcan about 55 degrees. Once we get up to cruise, I'll go to the rudder top view and let y'all take a rest. Like I say, we'll go to about 15, maybe 12 DME to Vulcan, turn due north till we get to the 301 radial, catch that, back outward. out toward Jasper, and with visibility like today, by the time we complete the turn, the runway will be visible. That's the way it should work anyway. Let's see what happens. We are good to go. We are currently not in the Delta airspace for Tuscaloosa, so that'll be a good for to take off. Here we go. Airspeed's definitely okay. We're good. Airspeed was alive, then it was white, and then we were done. Flaps up. Start our turn direct Vulcan. Throttle back to a cruise climb, 12 gallons per hour, give or take a little bit. Passing through 1,000 feet. It's Lake Tuscaloosa out there. Some nice scenery around there. That's the Highway 69 bridge that I've crossed 1,000 times in my life, probably more than that. Lived in Tuscaloosa, worked a day job in Tuscaloosa, but also worked at a church in Jasper. So we drove that 3 times a week, 2 or 3. And then for the last 2 or 3 years before I retired, I was driving from Jasper to Tuscaloosa to work every day down that road. Okay, we are at cruise. Throttle back to about 7 gallons per hour, 2,000 RPM. Everybody's happy. And I'll go to the rudder top view and let you rest. And here we are, about 15 DME from Vulcan. About to make my turn due north. No reason not to go ahead and start it now. I'm going to fly due north till we intercept that radio, because that should still have us plenty good for turning toward Jasper. I know we'll drift. I'm not flying a DME arc, that's what I'm saying. And here we are again. Starting to see some activity on that VOR radio, but I really won't need it at all because it's very clear. That's Walker County Lake right there. That's I-22. We're coming up on Highway 78, as I always call it. 1,500 feet is the good pattern altitude for here because the field's 500 feet MSL. I think I'll go ahead and turn a little bit instead of letting the autopilot put us on that. I'll just call this the beginning of our approach. Say we're on left downwind for runway. What is that one again? Seems like I take out of there all the time. I should know it by now. It's 11:29. So runway 11. There's our chicken houses. Those are visual outer markers. More chicken houses. It's like a trail of them leading to the airport. There's the airport. Viking Field, not the Jasper Airport. Alright, so turned prematurely. I turned on the highway instead of the airport. Should have taken this quick view that I've got set up out of the right window and used it. Slow down, get the flaps out. Dogleg left base. I've heard that term enough. That's what we'll call it. There is the runway right there. Winds are 024 at 0. That sounds good enough for me. Go. I think we got it made. Better. Not perfect, but they can definitely use the plane tomorrow. About those piddly X's on the runway, just a suggestion. It always seems like you're going so much faster from that rudder top view. I thought about trying to land it when I'm doing this drone stuff, to land it from this view, but man, it just seems like you're going 500 miles an hour. All right. One more time. We made it home. Shut down the process. Let's see. First thing, flaps up. Mixture of clean. All right. Wait for the client response. Got it. Flight is logged. Again, used almost 4 gallons. Let's see. Lights off. Brakes on. Car off. Stop that annoying buzzing. Beeping. And we are home. Have a good evening.